Coronavirus spreading all over the world has made governments, business owners, and the individual to begin to strategize on what needs to do to curb the spread and to ensure that life remains safe. Most governments want to ensure that their agenda are being achieved. Now, what we want to talk about on the show today is concerning the education system. And what we want to talk about is enhancing continuous learning in education system during this COVID-19 lockdown. And discussing this with me on the show today, I have Dr. Eric Mbele. Dr. Eric, you are welcome to Talking Point Show.
Thank you very much, Ralph. I'm glad having me on the program today.
Yeah, you're welcome. I also have Dr. Okwudiri. Doctor, you are welcome back, sir.
Thank you, viewers out there. I'm glad to be with you.
Yeah, you are all welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, I still remain your host, Raphael Onigide. Dr. Eric. Doctor, how do you think education process can continue?
Thank you.
Even amidst this lockdown? Dr. Eric, can you hear me, please?
Could you say that again? I didn't get what you said.
Okay, I'm asking you, how can we ensure that education process is continuing in this COVID-19 lockdown?
I think one of the things we need to understand is the COVID-19 pandemic. It's something that's, first of all, affecting the whole world. And it's something that has brought about a pause to many things we do. It's affected our routine, affected, most importantly, our education. And I'm glad about the topic we have on the program today because we need to think about what's the way forward to continue pulling on through with education at least the virus. So I think one of the things which I want to point out very quickly, which I think many countries around the world are doing, it's taking advantage of online platforms to continue learning, online platforms, online applications, and making sure that learning continues amidst the virus.
Okay, that is very good. Dr. Ekwe, there's a programmer that has come up with an application in Nigeria called Reducate. It's for education, both in primary, secondary, and I think we have some higher institution courses therein. How can we encourage this online learning? How can we encourage it?
Well, thank you for your question. Maybe let me start by saying that it's not a function of choice. COVID-19 came at a time no one expected it, and we're all forced to shut down schools and return to our homes. Some felt that the lockdown was going to last for just 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and here we are. This is 2 months, and we are counting. And I believe that these kids at home, we must find a way to engage them. Otherwise, you're actually encouraging them to start other things that may not benefit anyone. And that is why so many institutions, primary, secondary, universities, have actually gone online to see how they could use any platform that is effective to get across to their students at home. And that is why you understand that so many teachers, so many lecturers are now using any platform that they believe is effective to reach out to their students. I'm not quite familiar with the channel you're talking about, the one the programmer developed, but I know that several platforms, Zoom, G Meet, WhatsApp, name them, Google Classroom and all that. Everybody's using whatever platform that they think is important, is effective to reach out to their students. And you have to understand that education is something that is continuous. You can't actually stop it. the cost of stopping it far outweighs the benefits herein. So it's important that we continue to engage our students. It's important we continue to make sure learning continues even when they are at home.
Okay, concerning what you just said now, is it that this learning platform that you've made mention, can it be used as a yardstick to determine the sections, that is the semester? Is it going to be continuous in that way that, okay, we have this section now, because we have derived this platform, this online platform, with it, we can still continue with the semester. Then after one semester, depending on how the lockdown continues, is it possible?
Well, there's a lot of, in fact, there are debates going on. People are actually asking questions. Are we going to assess the students online since we are teaching them online? Would there be an online exam? Some are also saying, some are also worried about the effectiveness of the online teaching and all that. But I am sure of one thing. We may not know how this will play out, but I think some universities in Nigeria are actually planning on how to assess their students online. At Hikma University, for instance, if you check out the advert online, they have already notified their students that they are going to be assessed online. One may actually debate the effectiveness of such assessment, but what is important is that we cannot put education on hold. We have to find a way to assess them. It might not be very effective, but at least it's better than doing nothing. So my university, for instance, Samadewea University over Edo State, has not actually come up with any channel for assessing the students. But we do know that if this lockdown doesn't end, maybe in the next 1 or 2 months, universities will be forced to take exams online. I listened to the Minister of Education, Minister of State for Education. He was saying that if some were suggesting that why can't we just skip this section? Now, if you skip this section, what has happened is that those who were supposed to come in will have to remain at home for another 1 year, and there's no way you can merge the two sections. So what happens is that universities, institutions must find a way to assess their students so that at least they can move to another class or another level. Now, what will be in the public space will be the effectiveness of such assessment, but it doesn't matter. I believe that any university or any institution that is serious in finding a way to assess their students can actually do that, and I think we should encourage it.
Thank you very much for that, Doctor. Dr. Eric, you are in Thailand. Which one do you feel is better, the classroom lecture and the online lectures? Which one do you feel is better?
I think it's really not an issue of which one I think it's better, which isn't. I think it's an issue of which one we need to be accessing or making use of at a particular point in time. Both, as different channels of education have their own advantages and disadvantages. I mean, prior to this time, we've all been classroom based. We've all been doing lectures, going to class and having lectures in class and doing assessment in class where we have this contact with our students. I think the online platform is becoming an issue right now because of the COVID situation. So I think it's a matter of what is the need at a particular point in time. But if you would ask me, there are a lot of, considering the pandemic is ongoing, and the online thing, it's something which most teachers or lecturers maybe haven't really had time to focus on. Some people are still struggling with this, so there's still a lot of problems with this as to its effectiveness in terms of usage, in terms of the users as well. So most people, if you would ask, they might still prefer going back to the classroom, and so we all pray for the COVID thing to come to an end. So I think I wouldn't want to give a definite answer as to which one it's good. I think it's about the needs. If we have to do a need analysis of who are the users, what is the context in which we find ourselves. For example, online platforms or classrooms, they've always been in existence in other countries like in the US and Europe. You've had distant learning going on online as well. So it's about what is the need as per that time, and who are the people that needs to take advantage of this need. And so if we look at it from that aspect, now we can see that they both have their advantages and disadvantages, and it's just a matter of what do we need to use at a particular point in time.
Oh, thank you very much. E-learning, can we prioritize it even after the lockdown?
We could, we should. Again, like I said, it depends. We need to think about many other factors. It's not just saying we should prioritize e-learning. We need to look at the context as well. For example, we getting through to where we are at this level on the show, we've had some technical issues with the internet and all of that. Remember that e-learning means it happens online. And so one of the very first things you want to think about is internet access. One of the things you also want to think about is costs to purchase mobile data or whatever, and all of these other things. So it comes with a whole lot of financial consideration. It comes with a whole lot of other things. We're talking about the gadgets as well to use for e-learning. So in as much as it's a good thing to prioritize, which I think most countries are doing today, there might still be certain drawbacks. And until those drawbacks are catered for example, do we have good internet? Do our students have access to internet, for example? If we look at the situation of some African countries, do we have constant electricity supply to have classes throughout the day? Do we, are students, for example, familiar with online teaching and e-learning? Can they be able to access things? Are our teachers ready for this? Are they equipped, with the e-learning skills and all of that? Do they have the gadgets to do e-learning? And so it's a whole lot of other considerations to do. It's something to prioritize, but again, when we look at the contextual drawbacks, then we might have to do a rethink as to whether we should prioritize e-learning in a certain context or not.
Wow, thank you for that. Dr. Ikwe, what do you think should be the provisions from the government and education administration in Nigeria to ensure that we students get used to online education system?
Well, thank you for the question. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it will be needless telling you that there are no provisions. When this started, one had expected the government to provide what they called palliatives to make sure that while everyone is at home, that things could at least work, if not 100%, maybe 50%. But of course, Raf, you are in Nigeria and there's no power anywhere. Even there's no clear to everyone that shows you that we have a lot of issues with our internet connection in Nigeria. So there can be effective e-learning when we don't have power and we don't have internet connection. Let's not talk about the gadget because it's expected that the institution, like Dr. Eric said, that you need power, you need internet connection. And these things are not there. And that is why sometimes when I have online students don't attend, some of them don't attend, I find a way to convince myself that it is not their fault. For instance, you can't force a student to provide his own network. For instance, he has to subscribe to maybe Glo, MTN, Airtel, or the other network. And a whole lot of time, these networks that I've mentioned, they are not even strong enough for anyone to use to have an online class. So in terms of provision, like you asked, provisions were not made at all, not by the Ministry of Education, not by the National Universities Commission, not by anybody. Even the so-called conditional cash transfer for the pages of administration, nothing. So there are no provisions at all. Well, so there was nothing for anyone to use.
Okay, Thank you very much, Dr. Ekwe, for being on the show today. Dr. Eric, I really want to say a big thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
So it's been a wonderful time with everyone. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we draw the curtain of today's show. It's still your program, Talking Point Show. Join us next time, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.